So I think when I'm handing over a dashboard, I think there's a few things that I keep in mind. One of those things is obviously QAing the data, making sure it makes sense, double checking that it's accurate, and double checking that like the visualizations that you're using are the best way to look at that data. But I think I normally take a step back before we even get into that point of building the dashboard. And I think that that workflow starts with who the audience of this dashboard is and what they actually want to measure. Because you might have something like, we need a full funnel marketing dashboard, and that's great, but is a CMO going to be looking at this? Or is this also campaign managers that are going to be looking at this? Because, of course, those two people care about different metrics and on a different granularity. And then I think it's important that either it suits both or you're building something like two dashboards so that the person that you're building this for gets the high level insights that they need or the detailed insights that they need. So I think I'm typically starting with what does success look like and who's going to use this? And then you get into the part of, okay, do I have all of the data that I need in that system? If I don't, how do I pull that data in? And how do I visualize that in a way that makes the most sense for the stakeholders that are going to be using it?
Yeah, that totally makes sense to first start with the stakeholder, you address it, and then which are the data points that you need in there and how you get them in there. So I was wondering, is there any step within this workflow that is smoother than others, and or any part that where you feel, wow, this is always the same part where, you know, I have to hustle for things and it's not as smooth as you would like it to be?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky now. We've done a lot of work to build up our data infrastructure, especially in tools like HubSpot. And we have a really big data operations team that will help you get everything from our data warehouse that we would need on a customer into our systems. So we're pretty good at if something is missing, then I know exactly who to go to, and they can help me push that data in so that we can build those reports. But there are also always things that yeah, maybe you can't really report on that in HubSpot as reliably. So you do end up going out and looking in like a spreadsheet to do a deeper analysis, or going with the data team and saying, hey, I think this is better for Tableau. Something like a multi-touch attribution model, for example, is something that I would always choose to report on in Tableau than within HubSpot directly. But I think for the majority of these things that we build, we're pretty lucky that we have a really solid base for all of the data that comes